Camp followers or hirelings are probably something you never considered to add to your playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3, but they can absolutely break the game depending on how you use them. In this video, I'm going to highlight summoning hirelings from withers that will then allow you to make specialized characters that can act as potion brewers, party buffers, even weapon bonders for your throwing characters. I will say up front though, that this is a very gamey way of playing the game, and don't feel compelled to do this sort of thing. Really, it's a great way to get ahead if you're playing, say, honor mode, where every little bit counts, but almost every other mode can just get on without using any of the information in this video. I just want to be upfront and transparent about that. And if this is your first time on my channel, the way I do things is by upfronting the knowledge of my videos so you can decide if it's the right one for you. So with that being said, we'll be getting the halfling hireling and making them a transmutation wizard with a proficiency in medicine and focus on their wisdom ability. This will enable us to produce 2 potions every time we succeed a DC 15 medicine check, which I'll illustrate how we can greatly increase the odds of that happening. We'll then get a hireling that can cast Warding Bond, Aid, and or Longstrider to buff the entire party. And lastly, a hireling that is an Eldritch Knight to cast Weapon Bond on a throwing weapon. That's really the entire gist of this video, and if that's all you wanted to know, then please get back to making your perfect camp in Baldur's Gate 3 like you're playing The Sims or something. But before you head out, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Each one of those things does help me out in a huge way. I currently have something like 89% unsubscribed viewership on the channel, and that's a metric I'm trying to change, so every little bit helps. You can jump ahead to any part of this video that interests you the most using the chapters with the timeline in the description, and if you need help with any other subject in Baldur's Gate 3, check out my playlist link below and the video. It's just everywhere. Let's get started here on breaking the game, camp followers in Baldur's Gate 3. The first character we're going to show off on how to get is the herbalist, the potion maker, whatever, the chef, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to go up to withers. We're going to be like, what's up, big boy? I'm going to ask about some hirelings, and we're going to hire a hireling. Now, what's important here is we want to choose the halfling, because halflings get a very specific racial benefit here that's going to help us out. So let's go ahead and press venture forth. It's this little character right here, Brenna Brightsong. So Brenna Brightsong has halfling luck. So when you roll a 1 on an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, you can re-roll the die and must use the new roll. So this kind of helps us avoid auto failures. It doesn't, I mean, obviously it doesn't guarantee we'll not fail, but it does kind of help us dodge that circumstance. And we see that she starts as a bard. Well, I'm going to assume you're starting this from the ground up at level 1. So I'm going to give you the progression as if we were going from the first level. So we go up to withers here, and we would want to change the class of the character. And even though we can do bard and we can jump into bard later, the big thing is we want to focus on wizard first, because we want to become a transmutation wizard. Now, as far as our abilities, it doesn't matter. This character is not going to be a caster. We've got that set aside for other characters. The ability that does matter is wisdom. We want our wisdom to be as high as possible within, the constraints of even numbers here. If it's an odd number, it's not going to help us unless we have another way to increase our wisdom. And again, I'm assuming you don't, and you're starting at level 1. There are ways to increase your wisdom with items, but again, assuming you're at level 1. So we'll change our skill proficiencies too, and we'll choose a proficiency in medicine. Now it's only going to give us up to +5. That's okay to start off with. And the rest of it, we can kind of just... All right, so that was good, right? I messed everything up? No, good. So we're good to go. So we're set there with that. Now from this point, we want to get more levels into wizard to get us our transmutation. So this is what makes it so important. Experimental alchemy. You can brew 2 alchemical solutions instead of 1 when combining extracts. If you succeed a DC 15 medicine check, then you get 2 potions rather than 1. It's huge. We don't care about spells. It's not important to this portion of the game. We're just going to simply go ahead and grab those levels here into alchemy. Now, if you're only level 2 in the game, you can go ahead and actually switch over to rogue and get expertise. Let's go ahead and do that just to show off what I mean here. Oops. There we go. So we'd go over here to change, and we would select medicine. So now we have a +7 to our medicine check. You would stick this way until you got to level 4 in the game. You would respec the character, go 4 levels into wizard, and then get another level into rogue after. So I'm just going to stay on wizard here, but I wanted to tell you that if you're going from the ground up, that's how you would do things. We're just choosing whatever spells we can. It doesn't matter. get up to level 4 because we want to get a feat here. Now, there's some ways you can do this. You can go with lucky. You gain 3 luck points, which you can use to gain advantage on ability checks. We don't really need this, but you can use it also for other things, but I'll show you why we don't need it because we're going to use the enhance ability spell, but it is a nice way to get that bonus there. You can also go with something like resilient wisdom. This is going to give you proficiency to ability saving throws, which is important, but it gives you a free point of wisdom. So we could have started off with 17 wisdom, and this could have given us 18. But instead, we're just going to focus on ability improvement and just put it into wisdom. And the next time we get a feat, we would do the exact same thing here. So we get that point right here. This brings us up to level 5 on the character, which we would switch over to rogue, go abilities, change, and put that expertise point into medicine. It doesn't matter where we put the other points into. It's not really going to have any effect on the character. We only care about medicine. It's the important thing for this. Now keep in mind, your proficiency bonus is going to change with your character. It'll start at a simple +2. At level 5, it'll become a +3. And at level 9, it becomes a +4. So your character will natively, as you just kind of go through the game, become better at this. And really, that's where it ends. Everything else after that is just kind of nice to have. You can go ahead and put points into Wizard here all the way up to level whatever to get the Transmutation Stones, but we'll talk about that once we go into the buffing character. What I really wanted to focus on, though, is just simply getting our character up in the base bare bones to show you how you get this guy going. So I'm going to jump ahead really quick and get this character up to level 12 and show you what we can do with them. So our little halfling here has been jacked up all the way to level 12, and before we start jumping into alchemy, we want to try and buff this character up. So we'll use Shadowheart here. We'll cast Guidance. Oh, well, of course the character will move away. We'll come over here. We'll stop over here by Withers. So we'll cast Guidance and Enhance Ability. These two are really going to help us get everything off. So Enhance Ability here with Owl's Wisdom. That's going to help out with an advantage on wisdom checks, which medicine is. There we go. And we don't have to worry about it wearing off. It's a concentration ability. And then we're going to go ahead and use Guidance. Now, I would tell you to use the Guidance necklace. I can't find it for some reason. I've got it somewhere in this playthrough, and it's somewhere I can't find. So you would either want to use a character who isn't casting Enhance Ability, or that Guidance necklace, which will not go ahead and overwrite that. So I can't go ahead and do it because it's going to be one or the other. But I'll make my point that even without Guidance, we should be pretty well towards making this actually triggered here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into alchemy, and I'm going to press extract all ingredients. If you didn't know to do that, just go ahead and do that. And that's going to give you all your recipes. And here's a pretty popular one that a lot of people like to make. It is the Potion of Hill Giant Strength. So I'm going to go ahead and open up our combat log here, and we'll press craft item. And we succeeded. And rather than crafting 1, we crafted 2 potions of Hill Giant Strength. This is crucial because how you can really game this system is by using this character to make these potions in Act 1. In Act 1, you'll be able to get the Hill Giant Fingers from Auntie Ethel and the 2 vendors in the Myconid colony at level like 4. And then at level 6, the Cloud Giant Fingernails will spawn. So you'd go ahead and craft item here. We got lucky. We succeeded the roll. And you can see here, a skill check, 9 + 8 + 5, 22, DC was 15. This is 9 + 8 + 5, 22, 15. So we won, and now we've made, with very little ingredient requirements, 2 sets of these elixirs. And a way that you can really game this is if you bring a hireling online, every time you long rest or level up any character, it resets the stock of a vendor. So if you're at those characters trying to find the Cloud Giant Fingers or the Hill Giant Fingers, you just keep leveling up a character next to them, and you can keep checking their stock, and it'll reset their stock. But just to kind of, again, make my point further, let's go with a Elixir of Bloodlust. Okay, we can craft 5. I'm just going to press 5 here. And we succeeded all 5 of those rolls and made 10. Let's go over to potions like Supreme Healing Potion. Craft 1. Succeeded, now we made 2. Superior, craft 2. Succeeded and made 4. Greater, we've got 3, craft all 3, succeeded all of them and made 6. So you can see even without guidance, this character is kind of knocking it out of the park when it comes to making the rolls for these individual potions. And I mean, I don't even think I've, where's the speed one? I haven't done the potion of speed here. There it is. Okay, there's 7 of these. Let's see how many we actually made. We made 14. So just to give you a concept here that we've done very little in this game, or in this example, and we've just made a ton of potions that are going to last us through maybe some of the portions of the game where you're not going to get access to the materials for stuff like this, like jumping from Act 1 into Act 2. You can't really get a whole ton of these, and Act 3 you'll get a ton. So it allows you to kind of push through longer periods of the game with minimal amount of alchemical ingredients to get a ton of potions. So before I show you the next character, one thing you want to do when it comes to these hirelings, I'm going to go ahead and click on Brenna.
This vessel is at thy
Do
disposal.
not say I have no more use for you.
thou
She will
wilt.
just simply disband and go back into the hireling pool. That's fine. You just have to go through the whole process again. It's just kind of annoying. But if you want to kind of quote unquote game the system and do some more hiring and leveling, you can go ahead and do that. But wait for me in my camp.
Thou art the master.
And she's just right here. And that's going to be useful for the next that we're talking about. Now, for our next character, it's not going to matter what race we pick, but since we're talking about the Eldritch Knight and throwing weapons, if you do not have the dwarf as your main character and you really want to min-max a throwing barbarian or an Eldritch Knight thrower, whichever one you want to do, then you'd want to choose one of the dwarf companions to do that for you. So I'm going to choose this character because I like the Dwagar, and with this character, we're going to make them an Eldritch Knight so we can bond a throwing weapon. So jumping just a little bit ahead, we have to make sure that we change the class. We are respecing this character because it did start as a warlock. Even the other one starts as a barbarian, so we would have to do this regardless. So we do this, and we don't even need to go far. All we need to do is choose fighter. Doesn't matter any of the anything here. Choose this, level up again. And every time we're doing this level up right now, it's resetting vendor inventory. Just as a kind of a further reminder. And there we go. Level 3. We want our subclass to be the Eldritch Knight because of this action right here. Ritually bind the weapon in your main hand. The weapon can't be knocked out of your hand and it automatically returns to you when thrown. That is crucial. Let's just choose random abilities here. Doesn't matter at all. And now we have a character that can bind weapons for us for our throwing barb, for our throwing Eldritch Knight, which I mean you wouldn't make a secondary character for that, but still, my point remains. Let's go ahead and do this. Actually, we'll go back over here because I don't have Karlak in my party, so it won't really matter. Go back to my character, and we've got weapon bond. We'll go ahead and just take this weapon here and put it on. You don't even need to put it on. It can just be in the inventory. I might have misspoken there, but still, put it on. You got it. It now says weapon bond at the very bottom, bound weapon. There are some items in the game that will not activate unless they are part of the Warlock's Pact Blade or the Eldritch Knight bound weapon. An example of this would be the Charge Bound Warhammer. There's one in the Myconide Colony in Act 1. So doing this activates those weapons, which is really cool because now we drag this, well, let's just go ahead and do this, drag this off the character and put it back on my main character. And I'm even going to do, you can see that this still says bound weapon. I'm going to talk to this character.
This vessel is at thy disposal.
Wait for me in my camp. And I'm just going to go ahead and leave camp just to kind of make a point. Oh, this is going to put me, I don't remember where this save is. There we go. So we are out of the camp. We're away from that character, and this is still a bound weapon, meaning we can throw it and it is going to come back to my hand. So we'll go back to camp so that I don't trigger any kind of bullshit. Throw a weapon, throw this one, throws and comes right back to me. Just keep something in mind though. If you are making a throwing barbarian or a throwing Eldritch Knight, using a weapon that does not say thrown in the profile will not give you the damage of the weapon's profile. It'll do damage based off of the weight. So this is, while a cool ability, you should only be doing it on thrown weapons regardless. There are 3 weapons in the game that will return to you automatically when thrown as part of the attributes of the weapon, but this enables you to say throw A dagger, just a simple dagger, is a thrown weapon. So this will enable you to throw that weapon and have it come back to you. I don't think I have any throwing weapons in my traveler's chest here, but just to again make my point further if I possibly can. No, I don't think I have any of these. The short sword is not a thrown weapon. I thought I had the charge bound one, but I guess I do not. But either way, here, Orphic's hammer is a thrown weapon. So if I were to cast weapon bond on this, that when I throw, it'll do 8 to 17 bludgeoning damage. Otherwise, it would use damage based off of the item's weight. That is very, very crucial to understand when it comes to any and all throwing weapons, because you're not going to, if you go ahead and throw like the Sword of Chaos here, you're not going to do 9 to 22 damage. You're going to do a very paltry amount of damage because it's only weighs 5 pounds. So just again, last note there, just keep that in mind when you're taking a look at which weapons to bond with this hireling. Last hireling is going to be a buffer, and what we're going to choose is this character here. You could stack this character up with the transmutation wizard down here if you so wish. I just wanted to show them their own separate kind of entities because I think this is the one character that really makes it over the top levels of gamey depending on how you approach this. If you use warding bond, it just is maybe a little too much in my honest opinion. I would never do the warding bond portion. I think it kind of just takes a lot of fun out of the game. So we're going to respec, and we're going to take 3 levels into cleric. And the big thing here is we'll go life domain, just kind of fits the overall gist of what we're trying to do. And we'll put points into wisdom and constitution for the warding bond portion of this. Again, I'm not really going to be doing that, but nothing else really matters here. Constitution is just for more health, and we'll put it into intelligence because we're going to go into wizard anyway, so I might as well do that. You could, like I said, you could go medicine here if you wanted to double stack this character up. And then from there, we're going to level up. We'll get our level 2 into wizard, or I'm sorry, into cleric. And these aren't really abilities that are going to help us for what we need to do. We're going to go one more level up, into level 3. And this is where we choose warding bond, enhance ability. You can choose, where is it? Lesser restoration. Ooh, God, where is that? I thought I had lesser restoration here. Oh, protection from poison. These are going to be the ones that'll help you out because you'll be able to use them in the kind of constraint of what we're doing here. And on top of it, we get aid as a life domain cleric innately, and that is crucial as well. So we're going to be using these abilities to buff our characters from the camp. Everything else is just a nice to have. It won't really matter at all because we now only care about being a wizard. Now we're going to switch over to wizard here. And you can put more levels into cleric if you so wish. The main thing we're switching to wizard for is stuff like mage armor. Protect a target from attacks, increases its armor class to 13 plus its dex modifier. So you can use this on characters that maybe don't use any armor, whatever it is. You just make sure that they can't be wearing armor, and you go ahead and pop this bad boy on. Oh, let me go ahead and do that, and just doesn't matter everything else. So that's pretty much the gist of what we need buff-wise. Everything else you can get, we'll get Long Strider in here because that's part of it too. Just forgot about that. Everything else is just kind of nice to have. False life can also help as far as when it comes to the warding bond conversation, so I will show that off in a little bit here. But we'll go ahead and push our character up. And we will grab transmutation here. Again, just to show you that you can stack both of these wizards. You don't have to for any reason, but again, just to make a point. So I'm going to jump ahead now all the way to max level, and I'll show you how we do some buffs. And a quick note when it comes to your feats for this character, choosing stuff like tough is going to help with more HP, and you can go ahead and jump into ability improvement and put it in constitution if you want to go with the warding bond route. Everything else is not going to matter because this character is meant to buff. And the ability improvement is not going to really affect anything here. But so just really choose whatever you want. If you want to go with this kind of warding bond character, you want as much hit points as you can. So tough and ability improvement into constitution is crucial. All right, now buffing with this character is going to be pretty straightforward. It just depends on what you're doing, right? We can do that enhance ability that we talked about, but then Shadowheart can do the guidance on me if I want to make this the transmutation character, whatever the situation is, right? So we have enhance ability right out the gate. I've gone ahead and taken all the armor off of my main character, so we can go ahead and cast mage armor. So that character has mage armor. We can go ahead and cast a Warding Bond. And now I have a Warding Bond with a character that is going to stay in camp, and I'll show this off in a second here. So this character is going to take damage with this character, right? Warding Bond, the creature's bond to an ally. Each time that ally takes damage, the creature takes the same amount of damage. Helps you mitigate a lot of that damage. They gain resistance to all damage and a +1 bonus to their armor class and saving throws. So you take the same amount. Each time the warded creature takes damage, the spellcaster takes the same amount of damage, of course. And you can cast this on multiple people too, so you can really go use it on my frontliners. So like I can go over there with a Karlach, who I put in my front line all the time, stuff like that. Aid, you want to cast this on your highest level because then you get 25 points here. So heal your allies and increase their hit points by 25 hit points. So you want to pretty much do this either in a camp that makes sense to do this in. So what you're seeing here is, of course, I've got 3 of the 4 characters I would have in my party. So I would want to be able to stack this up with all the characters to make sure it hits everyone, so everyone can benefit from the aid. As it is, only these 2 are going to benefit from it. In fact, I think if I just stand here, I might be able to get this going. We're just shy of Karlach, but still, that's an example here of times where I wanted to hit everyone. And 2, you know, you could bring your cleric all the way up to level 11 if you wanted to do the Feast of the Hero, but I'd rather just have that on an active cleric in my party. It's just another ability that you can use. Lesser Restoration, Revivify, Remove Curse. Where is that? I had Remove Curse somewhere on here. Well, Remove Curse is a spell here too that I have. Oh, here we go. Remove Curse. These are just things that, okay, you know what? I just got a curse on the character. Let me pop back to camp. I'll go grab my buffer. They can remove the curse if I otherwise didn't have a way to do so. I can cast False Life on my character. Now I've got 27 plus 154 hit points with the Warding Bond that I'm taking advantage of, right? So you can use this character to really, really, really help you out. And the reason we chose Transmutation Wizard too is to do Transmuter's Stone. So we can give a character proficiency in Constitution saving throws. So if I were to choose this, I now have this little tiny guy I can go and toss onto Shadowheart, who is my cleric, and now I don't need to worry about her losing concentration. And the whole big point of this is I come over to this character, I talk to them,
this vessel is at
wait for me in my camp, and we leave camp just to just to trip on my own tongue to prove a point. And we have the Transmutation Stone is up, we have Aid up, we have Warding Bond up, so we benefit from this character and they're not even in our party. And that's the big boon here. Again, I think a lot of it is fun. It is very gamey to approach the game this way, though, like I said before. Some people really enjoy playing like this. So if you like playing that kind of exploitation style, or you're jumping through honor mode, I personally, in my playthrough, I have a Transmutation Wizard doing my alchemy. I think that's totally cool for me. But I think the Warding Bond is just maybe a step too far into this kind of overall approach to the game. But again, I wanted to show you guys how to do this and how you can have a lot of fun doing it, and how your character now can take a ton of damage and has resistance to all of these abilities, right? Look at all that. I have resistance to all this damage. This is insane. And this character is going to split that damage back home with my bro in camp, who I'll come back to at points, and this character will be dead. And you just simply use a Revivify scroll, you use Withers, whatever it is, to simply bring them back to life. So hopefully this helps you out in making the camp of your dreams with all a bunch of hirelings. Like I said, use this in different portions of ways that you want to help benefit your playthrough. Do you want to have a bound weapon, throwing weapon for your throwing characters? And throwing in 3 times in one sentence is wild. Or do you want to have a really cool Transmutation Wizard? Whatever it is, find a way to make this work for your playthrough, or don't at all. Whatever really kind of fits the style you want to approach Baldur's Gate 3 is the right way to play. As always, guys, please choose the way that you want to play. But as always, again, too, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one. Take care. If I missed anything as far as buffs for this character, I know I kind of rushed through it, but there are different buffs that you can choose from this character. I just couldn't really think of them offhand. There's plenty and plenty to choose from. I didn't actually, one of the ones,
this vessel,
since I'm here, I just remembered it. The character can not get back to work.
This vessel is
there we go. This character can do this. There's protection from poison, which I brought up earlier, but never actually. So now, for any other characters that don't have it, I have protection from poison. You could use protection from energy, but it's just a concentration ability, so you're limited in who you can buff with that, is my point. But have fun with this, go crazy, enjoy. As always, have a good one, take care.